Carlo Ancelotti has faced the greatest players of his generation. He has lifted Champions League trophies, survived dressing rooms full of egos, and prepared teams for nights where one mistake meant elimination. Yet when he speaks about Messi and Ronaldo, his voice changes, not louder, lower. Because, according to Ancelotti, these two legends don't destroy you the same way. One beats you without saying a word. The other makes every second feel like a countdown to disaster. So here's the real question no one dares to ask. What is more terrifying for a coach, a player who controls the game in silence, or one who turns time itself against you? Today, we're breaking down Ancelotti's rare confession, and why it changes the Messi versus Ronaldo debate forever. Before we go any further, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to hear is not another fan debate, it's a confession, a quiet one, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. To understand why this confession matters, you first need to understand who is speaking. Carlo Ancelotti is not a coach who chases headlines. He is a survivor of football's highest levels, 5 Champions League titles, decades inside elite dressing rooms, and direct encounters with almost every modern legend. When Ancelotti speaks, it is never to impress. It is to explain. And he has faced them both. Lionel Messi, the player who at 38 years old still led all major attacking metrics with 71 goal contributions in a single season, goals and assists combined, while playing deeper, slower, almost detached from time itself. And Cristiano Ronaldo, the ultimate pressure machine, a striker who built his legacy on relentless movement, aerial dominance, and seasons where 60 goals felt normal, even when defenses knew exactly what was coming. On paper, their numbers overlap. Goals, records, trophies, longevity. But Ancelotti insists the real difference is invisible on stat sheets. Messi doesn't accelerate the game, he absorbs it. Ronaldo doesn't wait for the moment, he hunts it. So when Ancelotti prepared his teams, he wasn't just choosing formations, he was choosing which kind of fear his players could survive. And that raises a deeper question. Is football more cruel when you're slowly dismantled, or when you're chased by the clock? There wasn't a press conference, no dramatic quote at first, just a night that refused to leave Ancelotti's memory. He later admitted that when preparing for Messi, his biggest fear wasn't pace or power, it was disappearance. Messi could vanish for 10, 15 minutes, no shots, no dribbles, no noise. Players on the bench would relax, defenders would step higher, midfielders would breathe again, and that's when it happened. One touch to slow the game, one look to tilt the defense, one pass that arrived before anyone realized a decision had been made. Ancelotti said the damage was psychological, because when Messi strikes, you don't feel beaten by force, you feel outsmarted, like the game was decided somewhere else before you even noticed. Ronaldo, on the other hand, never allowed that illusion. Against him, Ancelotti described a completely different tension. There was no silence, no pause. Every cross felt dangerous. Every corner felt like a warning. Every minute without a goal felt temporary, not safe. Ronaldo didn't disappear. He stared at time. Ancelotti revealed that his defenders didn't ask, "Where is he?" They asked, "How long can we survive?" That was the moment Ancelotti understood something fundamental. Messi kills your confidence, Ronaldo exhausts your resistance. And suddenly, the debate wasn't about who was better. It was about which kind of defeat hurts more. When Ancelotti finally put the difference into words, he didn't talk about trophies. He didn't talk about Ballon d'Ors. He talked about control. Messi, Ancelotti explained, doesn't need the game to be fast. He needs it to be his. That sentence changes everything. Messi's dominance is not built on constant action. It's built on manipulation. He slows the rhythm until defenders stop reacting and start guessing. And the moment you guess, you're already late. That's why Ancelotti said Messi wins in silence. There is no warning, no visible explosion, just a sudden realization that your shape is broken and you don't know when it happened. Ronaldo is the opposite. Ancelotti described him as a problem that never sleeps. Ronaldo doesn't control the tempo. He accelerates anxiety. His movement forces defenders to make decisions every second. Jump or stay. Step out or hold the line. And the more you hesitate, the more dangerous he becomes. That's why Ronaldo wins through obsession. He turns football into a countdown. Every minute without a goal feels borrowed. Every clearance feels temporary. Ancelotti admitted that against Ronaldo, his tactical plans were clear, but fragile. Because Ronaldo doesn't break systems slowly, he breaks them when concentration drops for half a second. And that's the cruelest difference of all. Messi makes you doubt your intelligence. Ronaldo makes you doubt your endurance. So the question changes again. Would you rather lose because you were outplayed or because you were worn down? Before Messi and Ronaldo, football prepared for stars. After them, football prepared for scenarios. Ancelotti pointed out something few coaches say out loud. You don't just defend against these players, you defend against what they do to time. With Messi, preparation became philosophical. Coaches stopped asking, how do we stop him? They started asking, how long can we deny him control? Midfields were redesigned. Lines dropped deeper. Defenders were told not to rush, not to dive in, not to blink. Because Messi didn't punish mistakes instantly. He punished patterns. If your shape was imperfect for 5 minutes, he would find the crack. If your midfielder lost concentration, Messi would turn one touch into inevitability. Ronaldo changed preparation in the opposite direction. Against him, teams didn't fear structure breaking, they feared time running out. Every cross became a threat. Every rebound became chaos. That's why Ancelotti said Ronaldo forced defenders to play with the clock in their head. You could defend perfectly for 89 minutes and still lose. Historically, legends were either creators or finishers. Messi and Ronaldo erased that separation, but in different ways. Messi became the system itself. Ronaldo became the stress test of every system. And this is where Ancelotti's confession becomes brutal. He admitted that younger players suffered differently. Against Messi, they felt confused. Against Ronaldo, they felt exhausted. That's not just greatness, that's legacy. One changed how football thinks, the other changed how football feels. And the most frightening part? Coaches around the world still prepare their teams using lessons learned from them, even when neither is on the pitch. Ancelotti made one final distinction, and this one rarely appears on television. He said the real difference between Messi and Ronaldo revealed itself before the match even started. Against Messi, players asked questions. Too many questions. Should I step higher? Should I follow him? Should I pass him on? Messi infected the dressing room with doubt. Not panic, uncertainty. Midfielders feared losing structure. Defenders feared being embarrassed by a single touch. And once doubt enters a team, discipline follows it out the door. Against Ronaldo, the questions stopped. Players didn't ask how. They asked how long. How long until the cross arrives? How long until the second ball drops? How long until one mistake becomes fatal? Ancelotti said this created a different kind of suffering. Not confusion, fatigue, mental fatigue, the kind that makes legs heavier in the 80th minute, the kind that turns discipline into hesitation. And that's why Ancelotti believes this rivalry may never be repeated. Modern football is obsessed with systems, pressing triggers, data. But Messi and Ronaldo didn't just fit into systems, they overrode them. One bent intelligence, the other bent willpower. Future stars may score more goals, they may run faster, they may be stronger. But to dominate football in two opposite psychological dimensions at the same time, Ancelotti doubts it. Because fear, he insists, is the rarest currency in football. And Messi and Ronaldo mastered it in two completely different languages. What makes Ancelotti's confession even more disturbing is this: the numbers support it. When analysts looked deeper into Messi's peak seasons, they noticed something unusual. His most decisive matches were not the ones where he touched the ball the most, but the ones where he touched it at the right moments. Messi didn't dominate possession. He dominated decisions. Entire teams adjusted their defensive blocks just to remove one passing lane. Fullbacks stayed 5 meters deeper than usual. Midfielders stopped pressing, not because they were tired, but because pressing Messi blindly was suicide. And yet, even then, Messi still averaged involvement in over 70 goals per season, often while walking, scanning, calculating. Ronaldo's numbers told a different horror story. Defenders could do everything right, win duels, clear crosses, hold shape, and still lose, because Ronaldo's efficiency punished time itself. Statistically, many of his most important goals arrived late, after pressure, after repetition, after resistance had already been drained. Ancelotti once explained that this forced a radical shift in match management. Against Ronaldo, you didn't manage space. You managed energy. Substitutions were delayed. Fullbacks were rotated earlier. Wingers were told to defend less, not to attack, but to survive. And here lies the cruel truth. Messi breaks your plan, Ronaldo breaks your limits. One forces you to admit you were outplayed. The other forces you to admit you couldn't last. That's why Ancelotti rejected the idea of a simple comparison. Because football is not only about what happens on the pitch, it's about what happens inside players' heads when the match refuses to end. And maybe that's the final lesson modern football still hasn't learned. You can prepare tactics, you can train systems, but when a player controls silence or weaponizes time, no plan survives untouched. What may be the most unsettling part of Ancelotti's confession is not about the past. It's about the present. Even today, when coaches prepare for big matches, many of their instincts were shaped by years spent surviving Messi and Ronaldo. Ancelotti admitted that young defenders are still coached using the same warnings. Don't overcommit. Don't switch off late. Don't assume the danger is gone. Those rules weren't written for average players. They were written because of Messi and Ronaldo. Messi taught football a brutal lesson. Control doesn't need speed. Ancelotti explained that modern playmakers are now judged less by how much they run and more by how much they see. Scanning, pausing, waiting, all habits born from years of trying to understand how Messi dismantled teams without ever raising his voice. Ronaldo taught an opposite truth. Pressure never expires. Fitness programs changed. Recovery cycles changed. Late game concentration became a science. Because Ronaldo proved that dominance doesn't fade with time, it feeds on it. Ancelotti went even further. He suggested that modern defenders suffer from a silent inheritance. They are trained to fear two ghosts, the ghost of silence, where danger hides until it's too late, and the ghost of obsession, where danger grows the longer you resist it. That is why Ancelotti believes football has not replaced Messi and Ronaldo. It has merely adapted around their absence, and perhaps that is their greatest victory. They didn't just win matches. They rewrote instincts. They changed how players think at 0-0, how defenders breathe at 1-0, how coaches behave when the clock turns cruel. Legends fade, habits remain, and in football, habits are forever. So when Carlo Ancelotti finally broke his silence, he didn't crown a winner. He revealed something far more unsettling. Messi and Ronaldo didn't compete on the same battlefield. One ruled the game by controlling it. The other ruled it by suffocating it. Messi made football feel inevitable. Ronaldo made it feel urgent. And maybe that's why this debate will never truly end, because it isn't about numbers. It's about which kind of fear you believe is harder to survive. Now it's your turn. Would you rather face a player who defeats you without noise, or one who turns every second into pressure? Tell us in the comments. Like the video if this perspective surprised you. Subscribe to the channel if you want more stories football never explains this way. Because some legends don't just win matches, they change how the game feels forever.